We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
With Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here. And today's going to be an interesting episode of Reality Rants, if you hear my voice. So, obviously, did not do the show yesterday. I hate not working. I got to tell you right now, I don't like it at all. It bothers me. I don't like taking a lot of time off. And basically, I had no voice yesterday. Now, I don't know how this is going to go. You hear it? I got another show. In fact, on the other show, I was supposed to interview Kevin Sorbo, Hercules. Really entertainment icon for my era. I know a lot of you out there remember that, and even had a spin-off, Xena Warrior Princess, the whole thing. Has a new movie coming out that he directed. I think it's called A Miracle in East Texas. Watch the movie. Guys, I watch about a dozen movies a year now. And this one was for work. And I couldn't talk. I couldn't talk. I actually, usually I'm pretty optimistic about me being able to get in there. And honestly, I can power through a flu or a sickness or a fever. Most of the time, I got to be pretty laid up not to come on. But here we are. There's no way yesterday I was talking to people for 5 minutes and it was killing me. And it doesn't hurt, just I can't talk. My nieces were calling me a gremlin as I was driving around. And I'm hoping tomorrow, strong. Obviously, by next week, my voice will be fine. But thank you all for joining me. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Before I get into the thumbnail, the main stories, why is my voice blown out? Well, as a lot of you guys know, I call MMA fights for Caged Aggression. This weekend, my friend and usually my broadcast partner, Pat Miletich, fought Mike Jackson in a heartbreaking loss where he really dominated the fight. Gassed about midway second round. You can kind of see it on his face. And did not come out to the bell for the third. So I don't have any kind of COVID at all. I'm not sick. I blew my voice out. It happens, I don't know, man. I've only had it happen a couple other times in my life. So, and it's always talk radio and stuff like that and things like this. I'd say it's happened maybe 3 times in the past decade. So it doesn't happen often. And I think I spent my voice. When I interviewed Miletich the day before where he sucked weight, he had a voice that was even drier than this one. I don't think I caught something from him, but, it was around 2,000 people. all sorts of people in different states of immunofear. And I'll be honest, I was extremely nervous all week for my friend. Normally, I'm super excited about those things. There are a number of issues, but especially because of my friend, that I was really nervous. Pat's a 57-year-old man. And again, amazing for a 57-year-old man. Just really unbelievable. Put you to bed, 57-year-old man. But yeah, so I'll be a little better tomorrow. And like I said, by next week, we will 100% be ready to roll. I was able to call fights with BJ Penn, a legend. Took time to sit down and speak with everybody and take picture after picture after picture. So kudos to him, and want to thank him for coming out for the weekend and calling these fights for one of the biggest little shows in the Midwest, Caged Aggression. Love the feel, and I'm very fortunate to have that gig, as a lot of you guys know that. I am a huge fan of MMA in general. Okay, so let's start it off, and let's talk about this Oprah thing. Okay, number one, it is hyper political right now. And this headline right here shows it, because so last night I went to bed, and I think because, you got to rest through this. See, that's why I'd even be able to do it yesterday. Like I said, even in the evening, I wasn't going to be able to do a show. Oprah Winfrey disputes Mitt Romney 2020 claim in new book. Now, the headline yesterday was Mitt and Oprah were going to save the world. They're going to save the world from Donnie T in 2020. Save the world. Have some semblance of normalcy back. No one wanted Mitt Mother Truckin' Romney in 2012, let alone 2020. Like, come on. It's a joke. It was how bad the establishment had hold of a pacified and zombified public. Even put somebody out like Mitt Romney. Total trash. Okay? And just like a McCain. Like establishment hogwash garbage. Just thinking about it right now in that respect, in the Romney factor, the McCain factor, it is hard to deny the Donnie T factor that shattered the mold, that finally got people questioning about some things anyway. It's just some. It's becoming pretty apparent right now with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Who can think outside of the box and who can't? Who can break out their jump to conclusions, Matt, way too early and just go with a government narrative, despite the last 3 years, and who doesn't, right? So that's like almost a side issue at this point. Although, again, the more that comes out, 7-hour stand down, come on. Guys, it's not real. That's not a possibility. So, getting back to these guys and how hyper political everything is. Romney writes a book, Oprah and Romney to save the day. They're going to save the day. Well, Oprah's already come out and disputed. It was like early in the morning. I was probably getting ready for the show, published a couple hours ago. Denied the claim in a new biography about Mitt Romney that she pitched the Utah Republican to run for president as an independent in 2020 with her as his running mate to oust Donnie T. In a statement to the New York Times, spokesperson for the talk show queen dismissed the detail in McKay Coppin's upcoming book, Romney: A Reckoning. Who's going to buy that trash? Who cares about Mitt Romney thrust upon us? In November 2019, Miss Winfrey called Senator Romney to encourage him to run on an independent ticket, Winfrey's representative said. She was not calling to be part of that ticket and was never considering running for herself. I don't know, but they were going to save the country, save the world. We're going to save the world from Donnie T. Yeah. I'll tell you what right now. Back in the day, Oprah had sway over everybody. By 2020, I don't know that she did. In 2016, yeah. She's a contender. But, first of all, plenty of warranted criticism against Oprah Winfrey. Let me get that right out of the way. Plenty. When I see Oprah Winfrey sitting down, hobnobbing with a guy like Harvey Weinstein, yeah, that's a legitimate criticism. Okay? Out in the open, no doubt about it. Factual information. Bring it up, show it to people. There it is. It's a pretty easy to do. Then I can bring something like, and we'll do it live. We're going to need some help today. Let me tell you. Got some clips going on, but we're going to do this live.
We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
So it's a legitimate criticism, okay? I got, in a bid to curb overpopulation, Oprah. Okay? It's Wall Street Journal, The Times, 2009. They're good. They're the good club. Okay? Billionaires try to shrink world's population, report says. Man, 2019. And they're all sorts of really great people. Like Oprah. This is a legitimate criticism. It's just too good to be true. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, David Rockefeller. It was David Rockefeller Jr., I believe, that actually attended that meeting. Eli Broad, who is somebody I often miss. And I don't know if I've even reported on that individual. I should look up Eli Broad. George Soros, Ted Turner, Oprah, and Michael Bloomberg. Okay? They're in a bid to curb overpopulation. Isn't that lovely of them? Now, this is in 2019. They got plenty of scratchola and got plenty of influence. Okay? So you wonder what kind of work they've been doing. Yeah. In the past 15 years. The Good Guy Club. They're the good guys. Hey, look at that. They're called the Good Club. And they want to save the world. Okay. Wow. And we've played the actual clip of this where they literally put them in superhero uniforms. All right? And it's the American tradition of great donors. Bill Gates, Henry Ford, Soros, Andrew Carnegie, and John D. Rockefeller. Wonder I bring up the Carnegie Association, and the Council on Royal Affairs, Council on Foreign Relations, because that's all real. And that's what really has controlled societies. I was tempted today. Who knows? Maybe we'll get to it because my throat's pretty shot. I'm shocked. I've been able to rattle off 12 straight minutes here. Pretty amazing. But anyhow, so 12 straight minutes is something. The Rothschilds have their own YouTube channel. Got about 27,000 subscribers. And I don't think people can really understand the wealth of the Rothschilds. It's unreal. It's not hard to understand why they think that you're subhuman. It's not hard to understand why that class of people, the predator class, literally looks down on you as their prey. Like they own a lot. And the way that And like, you got Lord Rothschild slumped over. He slumped over, like he's a big, tall, lanky guy, slumped over, talking about the work. The work. And went off on a tangent here. But what I was getting to in all those legitimate criticisms of Oprah, right? The fact of the matter is, it broke through more, and love it or hate it, and personally I hate it, instead of all that stuff I just discussed, and maybe why you should question billionaires, benevolent billionaires, I don't know. They want to save us, but they want to cut the Earth's population. What do you have? You have kind of like a cartoon level QAnon sense, adrenochromage like thing thrust upon Oprah Winfrey and people like Tom Hanks to the point where South Park is parroting it on one of their episodes where they're like in cloaks doing the blood rituals, right? And Joe Biden, as senile as that mother trucker was, has commented on it a couple of times. Like it's that in the public arena. So that's all pre-2020. There is a huge section of the population that used to be fans of that woman, and they are not anymore. At all. So even like this idea of a 2020 run is kind of delusional. And I don't think somebody like Winfrey could actually be serious about it because she has been super powerful and super in control of her image. And a political run is different. It's different. You mobilize more resources against you to kind of like open those closets and pull those skeletons out. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to keep on keeping on here in the I Kind of Have My Voice Back show. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. We'll be back after a word from our sponsor.
We interrupt today's programming to bring unfortunate news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. It won't benefit you. So take action now. The Federal Reserve's phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard and put your hard-earned assets in jeopardy. But here's the good news. There's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Speak to someone at American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Dial 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now, 833-287-2465. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Call 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now, 833-287-2465. Act swiftly, 833-287-2465.
All right, we are rocking and rolling here. And I also want to mention just really quickly some more housekeeping. Like I said, I don't like taking time off. I don't like sounding like I'm a cheap like afternoon drive hard rock DJ either. But hey, here we are. We're here. So I was supposed to have another interview on Sunday for the premium. And like 3 weeks in a row, I've only gotten one interview off. It sucks. It's not what I'm trying to do, guys. So really, I mean, had to cancel a few weeks ago. I had another cancel last weekend. And then this time I had to cancel because of my throat. So yeah, there's only 1 hour of a great conversation I had with Harrison Smith. We're going to play some of those clips, obviously, throughout the show today. I like Harrison a lot. I think he's a legit dude. I think he's got some humility in the fact that if he gets something wrong, it's not a big deal. I think he's funny. I think he is what he says he is, in that he's just like a family guy that wants to be left alone and kind of got thrust into being a talk show host. And The guy does it really well. Like, he's really good. And it's funny because we even talk about how we're direct competitors. Back when I first started going at the network, I was on an hour earlier. So I'm not sure if there was any overlap. Yeah, there was like 1 hour overlap. But that was only like, at the time, the second hour was premium too. So we kind of had fun with that. And, Harrison, he started out just like as a camera guy over at InfoWars. In fact, the first time we talk about it in the interview, but the first time I ever saw him was when InfoWars got sent down to Bilderberg in 2017. And listen, man, I'm not going to lie. Like, they weren't going to be there. But I'm glad Harrison ended up being there. And what do I mean they weren't going to be there? So I got there Saturday and like nobody was there. And usually, Thursday on the arrival, there's some buzz. Friday's big, but Saturday's the biggest. Sunday's when they all leave, right? So it was really Radowski at the time. Because you have to remember, gross. Just so everybody knows, it wasn't spit or anything. It's me talking with a lozenge in my mouth. And me having to get another one of these bad boy Vapo Cool Severe. And popping it in. Oh, I don't know what that was, but yeah. I can hear something playing in the background, Krista. I'm not sure what that is. Weird. I don't know if that's going to come through. It probably won't come through in the other feeds, but it'll come through in the RVM feed. Back to 2017 on Reality Rants, my ranting show today, where I got to stop ranting. 2017, Trump's in there, and there's a lot of Trump people inside the Bilderberg group. Oh, let's see what that is. Got it muted. Sorry about that. Okay. I was right. I did hear something. Okay. And there was a bunch of people in the Trump administration that were inside. Thiel was the technology secretary. Liddell was in there. McMaster was in there. They were new additions or newer additions to the administration. Trying to think. There was a couple other people there. It was like 5 or 6. Okay. And this is where like Jack Posobiec was and all these people that would get really big or were getting big. I was out of the mix for a while, guys. Like from the time I left InfoWars in 2010 to about, well, that's not really true because I did Shade, got that out in 2013. But I was really focusing on making that movie. So maybe 2013 to 2016 or 17. Oh, there's my brother. My brother just texted me. Better get yourself some raw honey, lemon, and gargle some salt water. Those lozenges are straight up garbage. Well, you should have heard me yesterday. I almost called my brother yesterday, but I just couldn't talk, so I decided not to. My calls, actually, I didn't call anybody yesterday. I did get a phone call or two. I kept it brief. My calls were about work on Sunday. Anyway, back to my ramblings today. Let me do this. Lost my train of thought, Adam. Thanks. Adam had me lose my train of thought. InfoWars, Bilderberg, etc. So when there's like 50 people there and no one's around, it's pretty depressing. Like when you were there, when hundreds of people were there, and people were starting to get it. And I didn't want to see everybody get pacified by Trump if he was, going to be co-opted by these people. And in many instances was co-opted. Let's make no mistake about it. Whether he realized it then, maybe realizes it now. Obviously, you look at a lot of the things. Assange, Syria, even Russiagate and how that was handled, Operation Warp Speed, the list goes on, right? I think I was legitimate. But InfoWars wasn't there. And Alex has traveled across the country before to be at these things. I mean, across the world, really. Forget about the country, gone international. And it's a no-brainer when they're in D.C., out in Chantilly, Virginia, right? Now, last year was different because no one knew where it was going to be. And then to have it in the heart of where was it? Well, actually 2 years ago, because some people did go to Lisbon, Portugal. And I'm pretty sure, there were reports coming in from, I think we had Dan Dix and others out there on the scene. But it went to, where was it? Was it in the middle of D.C.? Yeah, it was in like the middle of D.C. last year. Long story short, actually long story long, Luke put some stuff out on Twitter being like, hey, where's InfoWars? And they showed up Sunday, David Knight, Owen Schroyer, and a young Harrison Smith. And I just remember seeing like the crew, and I was on my way out. And I was like, yeah, most people are gone. It was, early afternoon when they got there. And, Harrison actually ended up taking David Knight's spot. And look, I respect David Knight too. David Knight does really great work. You can check him out over at Rockfin, a ton of the other alt platforms. I think we need diverse voices, period. That's it. Like, I mean, I'm glad more people have shows. So let's see. We got about 5 minutes. Do I have a under 5 minute Harrison clip? Yes, I do. And it's us talking about the Israeli situation. So let's go to that clip. I'm looking at this Israel situation, and kudos to you. And all these people have jumped on the war bandwagon. That puts all this into question. Even RFK Jr., right?
Yeah. Well, look, oh man, you're bringing up so many amazing things. So the first thing is, Chantilly, Virginia. I just started working at InfoWars then, and the first video I ever made for InfoWars, ever published with my face on it, InfoWars, was at Chantilly, Virginia. And it was it was about the realization that for years, for decades, they pretended this meeting didn't even exist. Bilderberg, what the hell are you talking about? Conspiracy theorists, that doesn't exist. But because of people like Alex Jones, because of people like yourself, hammering down the gate, basically, and exposing what was going on, they had to alter their tactics to say, all right, everybody knows that we're meeting now. So instead of, playing blind and pretending like we aren't meeting, we'll put out nice little pamphlets. We'll actually publish our show notes, like some sort of, business meeting of vampires. So, some sort of public beneficial, because they love us. Obviously, they're meeting in secret behind closed doors with the most powerful people in the world to decide what's good for us because they love us so much, obviously, right? And that's sort of the attitude that they're taking. So the first video I ever did, it was called something like Translating Globalism or Translating Globalist or something, basically saying, all right, when they say, a future with Donald Trump as president, what they mean is, how do we counter Donald Trump as president? And it was just, but you have to understand, and as much, trash people throw at Trump, blaming him for stuff, you have to realize this is what he was up against. He was up against a unified, coordinated cabal of people who were actively trying to undercut him at every pass, which is enough trouble. But then on top of that, you have the fact that there are people in all of these institutions, whether it's big tech, whether it's academia, right? We saw, we're still seeing this year with, the Supreme Court saying you're not allowed to do affirmative action. And so the universities go, all right, well, we're still going to do it. We'll just call it something else. All right, we won't do affirmative action, but we are still doing affirmative action. But now we call it, weighted admissions, whatever.
I'll tell you what it is. It's Bernaysian language. It's propaganda, AKA public relations talking points. It's semantical language. It's safe and effective. It's alone together. It's
right. It's they're doing the same thing, but they're able to twist the words a little bit. I mean, and this is the strategy that they take. But the problem is that it's not that we have, it would be one thing if this was like the communistic system where the people on the top were just giving orders and everybody else was following them. But now you've got this like decentralized tyranny where it's the small guys in the big tech company that just revel in their power to delete people they don't like. It's the little guys at the White House who are just undermining the agenda at every pass. They don't actually they're not the big, we don't even know their names, but it's like we're just, our whole system is just filled with these little globalist operatives that are using whatever power they can get their hands on to progress the agenda, and they do it in lockstep, like they're NPCs, like they're just a robotic hive mind swarm. And I don't know how we combat that, because I mean that's a whole nother level of things. Another thing to consider when bringing up Israel and everything else we've talked about is the fact that the head of the Facebook oversight board that decided to kick Trump off, the head of that was the former justice minister for the state of Israel. So you've got foreign government employees silencing the American president as members of oversight committees in American big tech, which is swarming with intelligence operatives. And I'm sure you've seen the list, hundreds of intelligence operatives.
Those are just the ones we know about. They say former. So actually,
get the whole story on Red Voice Media Premium using the link below, completely uncensored and ad-free.
redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. Now a word from our sponsor.
When I invented MyPillow, my passion was to help each and every one of you. And 20 years later, all of your support is what keeps us going. Because of you, we've been able to create thousands of USA jobs and help millions get the best sleep ever. To thank you, my employees and I are bringing you a limited edition MyPillow. The Giza Elegance MyPillow is made with my patented adjustable fill, the most amazing cotton, and a 2-inch pipe gusset. It has 4 custom loft levels, machine washable and dryable, and you get my 60-day money-back guarantee and 10-year warranty.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get your limited edition 20th anniversary MyPillow queen size. Retails for $69.98, now only $19.98. That's right, get a queen size MyPillow for only $19.98.
From all of us here at MyPillow, thanks America!
And we are back. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. I lucked out on that Harrison Smith clip because, it actually intertwined exactly with what I was talking about. Via meeting him via Bilderberg, the post-truth world, how we're just supposed to accept these narratives. And I've actually got a great little clip from Truth Stream Media that I want to play regarding the use of language. And I show old books here all the time because not only are old books cool because they're a part of our history, but as a part of our history, they really give us a better glimpse and understanding of what the norms of the time were. And so that's one of the reasons I've been buying older dictionaries lately. And when I say older dictionaries, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 70s if I can find them. Anything older than that, if it looks cool, maybe I'll grab it. I certainly grab older books. I have this one from 100 years ago, basically talking about warning everybody about the processing of food and what's going to happen, et cetera, et cetera. I need to do a whole show on that book because that book's been buried by history. Really interesting book. But in regards to TruthStream, they talk about how the word genocide is not in any of these really old dictionaries because it really wasn't in the vernacular. There wasn't a way to describe what genocide actually was before that. And I think it's a really interesting take. It's always interesting what comes out of TruthStream and Aaron and Melissa Dykes. So this is Melissa talking about those aspects. And once again, like kudos to them for just doing it big, because they always talk about doing it bigly. They also, Aaron, where did I meet him? InfoWars. It just showed, like, even if you don't stick around, I wasn't there that long. Aaron was there way longer than I was, right? There aren't a lot of Dews of the world. Rob Dew's been there a very long time. But, excuse me. Sorry, guys. The throat. I know it's gross. You know a tree by the fruits it bears. And man, like, I think Harrison's good. Owen Schroyer, I don't agree with Owen on a lot of things. He's about to go to prison for 60 days for a non-insurrection. These are the warriors, man. Does Alex get it right all the time? No. Does his delivery turn off people sometimes? Sure. Different strokes for different folks. And that's why we're going to play this True Stream Media clip on genocide.
Just want to show you guys something really quick. This right here, this giant dictionary, is probably one of my top 3 favorite books that I own. It is from 1894, but it also comprises the issues of 1864, 79, and 84, unabridged. It's freaking huge. There's so many things in here that you can't find in other dictionaries. But I just wanted to show this to you. Back then, the word genocide wasn't in here. See, it goes from genius, and when you turn the page, it's not there. And I've kind of made it a mission over the years, when I've had the means to go on eBay and buy cheap, old, used dictionaries, trying to get one from each decade of the 20th century just to compare, because things get moved, they get taken out. And when I couldn't find it in there, I thought, well, when did they add it? My guess was after World War II or during. So this is a 5th edition. I believe this is from 41. New International. And as you can see, it's also not in there. See? It's missing. So then I thought, well, surely it must be in this one. Here's another one. This is the Collegiate. But it's later. It's from 46. Again, it's not in there. How about this one? This one's got some pretty interesting art on the inside. This one, I believe, is from 56. Yep, 56. Next one I have is the 7th edition, so guess it could have been in the 6th edition, but this is from 1967, and this is the first time that I saw it mentioned. The genocide is the deliberate and systematic destruction of a racial, political, or cultural group. Genocidal is tending toward or producing a genocide. So it's the first time I saw it. It was 1967, and I went to hear, this is not going to probably film very well, but this is the Merriam-Webster website, and they claim down here, the first known use of this word and the meaning defined is 1944. So basically, we didn't have that concept written down in a way that just summed it all up like that back in the day. Not until after World War II in 1944. And if you've learned any history at all about World War II or the 1940s, you know what was going on and why that word would be used. And it's 2023, and I just fail to believe we've all collectively as a human race forgotten what that word means and why it's bad. Especially from some of the very people who seem to be promoting it. It's disgusting. It makes me sick. It makes me sick. Have we learned nothing? Have we learned nothing? I don't understand.
Gets a little emotional at the end. And makes a really great point. You know, the word wasn't really even around. Post-World War II, you get a succinct definition after a horrific global event, the scale of which had never been seen, because it was industrialized war. And look, although World War I was somewhat industrialized, World War II is another level. Just not even comparable. And so you get that terminology. And now we see that blueprint everywhere. We see things being enacted everywhere. And it's hard not to highlight the Israeli-Palestinian situation, because there you have a class of people that are currently being called savages and animals and treated as such, treated worse than animals. And what do I mean by that? You don't shut the power off on your animals. You don't stop feeding your animals, etc. Unless you're a terrible person. And those terrible people exist all over the place. I want to make that clear too. But you're doing that to 2 million people. Again, 2 million people did not attack rave kids. 2 million people did not launch rockets into Gaza. And James Zogby, of all people, let me make sure I know exactly who he is. James Zogby. Last night I was watching, here he is right here. What was it? Free Speech Television? And I'm pretty sure James Zogby is the one that, I'm not sure if he's there. He's 78 years old. I didn't realize he lived in Utica, because upstate New York. And is he behind the Zogby poll? Zogby poll. Let's see. Zogby poll. John Zogby did that. Okay. So they're different people. See, I wasn't sure if he was the same Zogby, but James Zogby, man, the way that he articulated the Palestinian and Israeli conflict and what was happening, I might have to look him up right now and see if I can find something. I forget what show he was on. I largely agreed with the host as well. Hey, look, I'm live. I came up on my own feed. Isn't that lovely? I mean, we got a whole, 134 people watching on YouTube. Thumbs it up. Can we get 60 thumbs up, everybody? And if you're watching over on Rumble, thank you. Let's thumbs that up. Second hour, by the way, over at RVMRumble.com. Less than 20 minutes away from that second hour, everybody. James Zogby, and let's type in Israel. See if we can find it. That's 2 years ago. I want to get it within this week, obviously. More violence doesn't end the occupation. Agreed. That's 16 minutes. This is a day. Zogby. Let's try this one. Dr. James Zogby. Yeah, this is exactly what I saw, actually. 4 days ago, he put this up. Richard R.J. Eskow. This is an excellent interview. Like top of the line. Exactly what I watched. I probably can't articulate it much better. So let's play a few minutes of this now. And then, man, maybe we should wait until Rumbletown because I don't want to get a strike or a copyright. But Zogby nails it, man. He nails it. We're going to wait. We're going to wait for Zogby. That will be coming up second hour. You're going to want to see that. Because really, just an intelligent breakdown of the whole shebango. I do have Matt Gaetz grilling the mayor of D.C., which, again, makes me like Matt Gaetz more and more and more. He's doing it, and he's doing it bigly. Wanted to hit this story. Let's do this before we hit a break in a couple minutes. Hollywood actors strike could see Christmas television affected in 2024 movie releases pushed back an entire year. So a lot of people thought that all the strikes were over. There was just a tentative deal with the writers. Apparently, everybody else is still in it. The ongoing Hollywood actors strike could see next year's movie releases pushed back to 2025. The 3-month SAG-AFTRA strike is continuing on after talks between actors and studios broke down last week. So they thought that they were going to come to an agreement. The writers came to an agreement. And now it's been claimed that 2023 Christmas TV and 2024 movie releases could both be affected by ongoing strike actions due to the projects being halted. And look, this is the end of a lot of what's the remnants of Hollywood, because the bottom line is more people know influencers. Let me give you a great example of how big influencers are over everything else right now. Logan Paul just fought Dylan Dennis. Now, he's a huge social media draw, but then again, so is KSI. He fought Tyson Fury. They fought together on the same card. They did 1.3 million pay-per-view buys. 1.3 million pay-per-view buys. That's huge. If you get maybe 3 or 4, I don't even know if 3 or 4 UFC events that do over $1 million a year, that's huge. That means that these guys every time are coming out and doing that. And they're doing it through social media. We're going to come back. Final segment of the first hour. Second hour is over at RVMRumble.com.
Attention Americans, breaking news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. It won't benefit you. Take action now. The Federal Reserve phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard. Your hard-earned assets are in jeopardy. But there's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Reach out to American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Visit protectfrombiden.com. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Be smart. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Visit protectfrombiden.com to get your free guide and get started. Again, that's protectfrombiden.com.
And I'm not sure if that all froze up. I don't know, man. Like, again, I'm getting all these weird errors trying to mess with stuff. Okay, maybe not. Thought maybe we were fixing something. Now we might have fixed it. There we go. But I feel like that was stuck on that screen for a while. I don't know. It's a rough day here in the office. Throat hurts. Things are a bit yikesy. Matt Gaetz, grilling the DC mayor on common sense crime. And really, it's just another lesson of how we're in the post-truth world and how language is used to manipulate things. And it's not only Orwellian, but, you know, it's beyond Orwellian because that was supposed to be fiction. But you know what's not fiction? The fact they're going after Orwell these days because he was sadistic, misogynistic, homophobic, and sometimes violent. biographer of the legendary writer's wife, says darkness that runs through 1984 is a reflection of his soul. And maybe that's the case. But, this is the Telegraph. This is a couple days ago. We can't go past the headline unless maybe it's on archive.org. But this is a bid to try to discredit, established academia. It's like exactly what was warned about. Let's see, archive.org. See if we can do it, because we do it live. They write it and we do it live. See one spot. Let's see. Is it going to be behind a paywall? Paywall, we'll find out. Nope, we actually got it. Look at that. I like that. Let's read some. George Orwell was a sadistic, misogynistic, homophobic, sometimes violent man who wrote women out of his story, according to the biographer of his wife. Anna Funder said that Orwell was a brilliant writer, but a complicated man whose personal life was at odds with the decency of his writing. She has produced a biography of Eileen O'Shaughnessy, Orwell's wife, highlighting the contributions of O'Shaughnessy made to his work, including helping him to write Animal Farm. According to Funder, the darkness that runs through 1984 is a reflection of Orwell's soul. Some animals are more animal than others. Animal Farm. Decency is such a core Orwellian value. He writes about it. It's the quality of the proles in 1984 that is going to save us. He wanted to be decent, to be seen as decent, by which he meant a man of integrity. The same inside and out, says Funder. Also, he used that word to refer to being heterosexual. He was enormously homophobic, but deeply attracted to men, and I think not particularly interested in women sexually. Again, I haven't dug into Orwell and his personal life, so I don't know how valid this is. So he's a very complicated man. He's sadistic. And what sadism? There's the misogyny, there's the homophobic, sometimes violent and also brilliant. She told an audience at the Shelatem Literature Festival while promoting the book Wifedom, Mrs. Orwell's Invisible Life. Boy, everybody's the victim, huh? He desperately wants to be decent, and wanting to be decent is an honorable thing, a noble thing. But writing a book like 1984, which is violent, misogynistic, sadistic, grim, paranoid, that comes out of a writer's flaws. What? Paranoid? Writing about grim things? So, with that logic, what about somebody like Stephen King, who politically over the last, however many years has gotten worse and worse, but then at one time, we got to take another vape. Cool here, guys. At one time, he was doing intros to Shooter Jennings albums. Like, again, that's something I'll probably have to bring up on the other side of this because you can't do it otherwise. I get a copyright strike, but does that mean that he's paranoid? In fact, Stephen King wrote The Running Man under a pseudonym, Richard Bachman. It's part of the Bachman books. And boy, I don't think that's out of anybody's flaws. I think it's out of brilliance. It's out of foresight. Take someone who is those things to go deep inside themselves and pull that vision out. A decent everyman underdog, the ordinary person that he might have wanted to be, would not have had those visions. What are you talking about? See, that's utter bullshit. That's some academic elitist nonsense, man. Like telling me that, first of all, I consider myself an everyman. Who the fuck am I? Otherwise. right? But I don't think I'm an intellectual giant like Orwell, but I can sure put out a vision sometimes. And I don't think I'm grim or paranoid or any of the other violent, misogynistic, or sadistic. No. It's just so odd that we've gotten this far. It's Telegraph's popping this stuff out. But I feel it's almost naive of us to want our writing heroes to be decent, upstanding, everyman types. Weird. Funder, author of the bestseller Stasiland. Oh. Let's see what Stasi is. That about MAGA people? Let's see what Stasiland book is. Gotta look at it. Okay. Is it actually on Russia? And Germany? Behind the Berlin Wall? And the secret police, yeah. Has it got the fall of the wall? September 20th, 2011? Or is it just basically World War II? Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd have to watch it. Stories Behind the Berlin Wall. So maybe at least this woman's not like who knows, she might have TDS. I don't know much about her. What else we got? Let's see. She's a feminist. Noted that Orwell had a feminist mother and sisters, an aunt who ran a literary salon, and this fabulous, intelligent, strong wife. And his work, he absolutely ignores women. He's a misogynist. I haven't read Orwell in years, but I don't know if I have the misogyny vibe in his work. Anybody over there got the misogyny vibe? Reading some Orwell? That's a very scary thing that's going on. He's not a man of his time. It's not to be excused and thought of as back in the day. O'Shaughnessy, there we go, married Orwell, whose real name was Eric Blair, in 1936. She read English at Oxford, where J.R.R. Tolkien was one of her tutors. I mean, obviously, with her being at Oxford, these were academics even of their day. Funder suggested that her knowledge of fables fed to the writing of Animal Farm. Funder includes in her book letters that O'Shaughnessy wrote to a friend, Nora, discussing her marriage. In one, she said that she wanted to visit Nora, but found it difficult because Orwell would either claim to be ill, requiring her to stay home and tend to him, or contact her while she was away, requesting that she came home again. Funder cited it as evidence that O'Shaughnessy was being kept in a controlling environment. O'Shaughnessy died in 1945 at age just 39 during a hysterectomy operation. Orwell died from TB 5 years later. So, I mean, how much speculation is going into this? Wifedom is not only a book this year that releases Orwell through the feminist lens, reassesses Orwell through the feminist lens. Sarah Newman has written Julia, which retells 1984 through the eyes of its main female character. That's interesting. Newman was invited by the Orwell estate to take on the project. Okay. She had absolutely idolized the author when younger, having read his political works. Then you read his fiction, particularly in 1984, and that hatred of women is really extreme, says Newman. I mean, my God. O'Shaughnessy. Okay, O'Shaughnessy, Davin Greenheart. Thank you. My throat's not all there, guys. Let's see. I guess we're going to have to wait on the Gates clip because I read that. Do I have anything shorter right here? I don't know that I do. I do have this. Waka Flocka Flame and Donnie T. Look at him go. Waka Flocka. 1.8 million followers. You know what I like about Waka Flocka Flame on Twitter is that he didn't get the blue check mark. He's not paying for it. And really, and this still has 3.3 million views. Good for you. Because if you're not posting like long form videos, it does nothing for you. That was all a lie that was going to boost your posts. The same exact thing is going on at Twitter that went on before. Period. Think about this. Donald Trump, when they allowed him on a platform like YouTube, Right Side Broadcasting was pulling tens of thousands, sometimes over 100,000 live viewers on Donnie T. Live viewers, just boom, 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 boom. Just extreme. You don't see any of that. You know, you don't see that live stream in there. It's all on like these other echo chamber networks, unfortunately. And then on Twitter, you know, I talked about that Dinesh D'Souza interview I did. Well, D'Souza posted a bunch of clips on it to his credit. Thank you, Dinesh. It got, you know how much it got me? It got me less than 100 Twitter followers, just to give you an idea on that platform. The engagement of it, even though marginalized, is probably my largest engagement on Twitter in some time throughout. And it's a bunch of anonymous loser accounts, like literal anonymous losers that call people maggots and act like Donald Trump is a fascist. Just stupid memes. He's a criminal. None of these people put their real faces out. None of these are real accounts. They're the ones engaging 99% of the time. I mean, loser bot accounts. So you can't, and look, I don't even think Dinesh gets it all right. Like, again, I had that conversation with him. I mean, the Obama administration is the reason for the police state. No, it's been growing for a very, very long time. But again, the idea that all gets attacked. I mean, talking about how Dinesh is such a criminal. He's a criminal. Look, they go after your ass as soon as you're effective. That's it. I'm going to go to break and come back, tell you where to find that second hour. Okay? I'll give you a hint. It's over at rvmrumble.com. Then we'll get to that second hour.
If you're like me and you want to be prepared for the unexpected,
that's where the wellness company's emergency medical kit comes
over
in.
40% of Americans say that they would avoid a doctor or a hospital unless it was a catastrophic situation.
Medical emergency kits with...
The kit contains 8 potentially life-saving medications for you to keep on hand in the event of natural disasters, supply chain shortages, medical emergencies, or like an apocalyptic situation. These are the actual medications that you would need in the event of certain situations. So they've got emergency antibiotics, antivirals, antiparasitics.
All right, folks, you know the drill. Again, I apologize about the throat. I apologize about not being able to go yesterday. And again, I don't know I'm at the top of my game today. But like I said, day by day, we'll do it live. We'll get better with it. RVMRumble.com right now for the second hour free. That's the second hour free. Remember, there's also a third hour of a lot of the premium stuff that if you're not a premium member, although we really love you premium guys, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored, you get a taste of this programming. And quite frankly, it's some of the best stuff I get to do is have conversations with people. We're going to play more of the Harrison Smith conversation that is premium this week on the other side. And we're going to get there right now. Hold on. We got a Melissa Kelly. Thank you so much for that Tipsky and Hutch. We do appreciate it. All right, YouTube, we got to get rid of you. We got to